Back a few days ago on Tuesday, we had voting. We've had some problems here in Bridgeport. This has been an embarrassment to the city, and a lot of folks are very upset about this. As you can see, in a very short period of time, a lot of concerned citizens showed up from all different persuasions.
Well, we're getting deeper and deeper into the month of November. The chill is in the air, and while you might have thought the election was over, for some people, it still isn't over. Hi there, I'm David Smith for DoingItLocal.com. We're at McLeavy Green, where a bunch of folks have turned out to show their displeasure with the way the election went, in particular, the way it was handled in Bridgeport.
Publicly calling for the immediate resignation of Bridgeport Mayor Finch. Yeah. If he does not resign, then all the people of Connecticut will once again know there is an instance of incumbent arrogance. Whether he was aware or involved or asleep at the switch all the way, he must immediately leave office.
This, my friends, is the road to being a banana republic. And we're on it and we're moving fast. It is a sacred right that every single citizen gets to vote. But let me tell you something, there's another sacred right. And that is the right that every other citizen only votes once.
There were people who were properly registered, claimed to be properly registered. They went to the polling areas. The polling people said that they were not on the list, that the official list. According to the rules, they should have been given provisional ballots to be able to vote in that way to have it checked out. They were not given provisional ballots.
That we are, as concerned citizens of all persuasions, going to continue to follow this to make sure that we have an honest vote count and we have an honest outcome, regardless of who won or lost. The integrity of the system is tantamount and critical to a democracy in Connecticut and the United States.
Interesting day out here. What was the reason for calling together this
Well, the reason why we did this is that we had an election on Tuesday, and we have problems in Bridgeport, and we wanted to call attention to some things that are unacceptable that went on. And once again, this is our right to vote at stake. And we've had a lot of problems. We're still figuring out what these problems are. But people have a right to vote. They have a right to have their vote counted in an honest and fair way. And there's been it's a disaster, and it's coming out in the press, and everyone's talking about all kinds of different things. But that's what this is about. This is about concerned citizens of all persuasions saying this is unacceptable. And we've called for Mayor Finch's resignation. The buck stops with the chief, and he's the chief of Bridgeport. And he must step down immediately, and we must make sure every vote is counted.
Do you think that the registrars of voters bear any responsibility in this, since it's up to them to order the ballots?
Well, once again, Dave, I don't know the particulars of all that went on. There's probably some responsibility there, but at the end of the day, when you have a corporation and you have such a problem of this magnitude, the CEO steps down, and we start there. As I don't know if you caught my early statements, but we're going to make more statements as the days and weeks come ahead. Once we can see where the problems are, we're most concerned right now, given that the election should have been decided on Tuesday, that we have an honest outcome, regardless of who won or lost. That's not the point. We have to have, if you're legally allowed to vote, then you should have been able to vote. And if you were not legally allowed to vote, you shouldn't have.
Now, of course, the mayor has come out and said all of these exact same things immediately. As a matter of fact, the night of the election, he said exactly the same thing. The mayor did.
About which specific things?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything, that none of this should have happened. Not that he should stand down, of course, but that everybody should have the right to vote. It should be indisputable that everybody does have that right, that money should play no part in it, that everybody should be allowed to vote in Bridgeport as well as the rest of the nation.
That's exactly true, but at the end of the day, remember, this happened under his watch. And there's stuff that went on. God only knows what happened before Tuesday. And we've seen some things that have gone on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and since. And at the end of the day, he either saw what went on and did nothing, or was asleep at the switch. There was only one of either he saw it and did nothing, or wasn't paying attention, and he has to be held accountable to that.
When you say he saw what did he see, and what didn't he do that he should have done? When it was clear that there were not enough ballots there, he immediately went to the Secretary of the State and had Judge dictate that they should be allowed to vote for 2 more hours, got more ballots there so that anybody who was still available to vote could vote. What else could he have done?
Well, that wasn't the point of what I'm saying. There's two ways to look at this. Either something wrong went on, and we're still finding all this out, and I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't want to accuse somebody of something they didn't do, and there's a lot of anger and frustration right now, and that's what you're seeing from this audience.
Okay, at this point we've got a margin of 5,637 votes. That's almost 3 times what it would take for a recount. Are you planning to join in any legal action on this?
No, and quite honestly, if the final numbers are what they are, 56. I haven't followed the exact number. I know it was 5,000 something. If the numbers are 5,000 and the laws were followed, and then there should not be a recount because the law states, I believe, 2,000. I want the law honestly and fairly applied to everybody, everywhere.
And once again, Sean, what would you have had the mayor do that he did not do?
At this point, I'm not prepared to comment on that because I want to make sure I have all the facts that went on, and we're still getting information. And I would like to comment when I can say for sure that I know what I'm talking about.
Is it not a little precipitous then to ask him to stand down when you don't have any accusations for him to stand down about?
Well, as I mentioned, I did not accuse him of any legal or ethical wrongdoing. When we had situations in corporate America, the CEO steps down when you have situations that are of a big problem, and there should be no difference in politics, and that is my point.
Well, there you go. A call for the resignation of the mayor of the city of Bridgeport without any real accusations being made. It gets curiouser and curiouser, does this election process here in this country, but we at doingitlocal.com will keep you up to speed on that as well. I'm David Smith.